5 seconds to the open. You ready?
Who wants to get this thing started right about now?
Welcome to Follow the Money Weekly with your host, Jerry Robinson.
Welcome.
Not just some guru.
Oh, really?
Your host is an economist and a best-selling author.
What an interesting news item. I'd better write that down.
And just someone who likes to make money and help you to make money. Welcome to Follow the Money Weekly. And here he is, Jerry Robinson.
Welcome to you, friends all around the world. Welcome to Follow the Money Radio. So grateful to have you here. My name is Jerry Robinson, as you just heard. I'm an economist, an author, and a trader, an investor. You know, I just like diversified income streams. I like diversified investments. I like to keep myself nimble because we live in a very interesting time, monetarily speaking, but also the economy is very interesting today. And I think it's important and incumbent upon all of us to have a plan and to be prepared. And that's what this show is all about. And as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Jennifer. Great to have you on the program today.
Thanks, Jerry. It's really good to be here. And of course, today is all about cryptocurrencies. And Bitcoin naturally caught the world's attention again at the beginning of this month, April 2019, when it broke above the $5,000 level again. And of course it didn't, it was just like any old regular day for us here at Follow the Money and to all of our members who have been following us for a while and our listeners, because we have been educating on the topic of cryptocurrency since 2012. Jerry and I have personally been invested in cryptocurrency since 2013. So this was just a regular day for us because we have been teaching about this topic for so long, but of course it's exciting when it happens, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the price and what's happening in the current price action with Bitcoin a little later. We'll also be telling you about 3 cryptocurrencies that we are invested in for the long term shortly. But first, we have just released the 2019 cryptocurrency investment report. And Jerry, without giving away the store, give the listeners a little taste of what's inside this year's report.
I would love to. You know, I'm sitting here looking at it right now in my hands, and we just released this to all of our gold members and all of our platinum members. You get access to this. And in addition to the issue, this brand new 2019 report, we also, it's about 25 pages as I'm kind of thumbing through it here. And then we also have our top 12 cryptocurrencies that we like for 2019 and beyond listed in a portfolio. And then we've done some videos and everything. So basically how to get started, how to buy your first crypto, you know, all of that is involved in the video that we've provided. Well, we have other videos as well. So it's a really nice package. And I'm just looking here through the report. And let me just give you a few highlights here. First of all, as you stated, you know, I bought my first stock back in 1996. I bought my first option in 2002, but I didn't really, you know, buy my first digital currency until about 2013. And it was during that time that I got introduced to this world. And I bought 2 cryptocurrencies back then, way back in 2013. And they were Bitcoin and Ripple. And those 2 coins obviously have done very well since that time. And in this report, of course, I list out the holdings that I have, not just those 2, but the other ones that I've learned about as I've done my research. I've come across other cryptocurrencies that I think have, you know, potential in the long term. Now, as you look at the report, though, one of the things I really wanted to stress at the beginning as I was writing this report was the understanding of why cryptocurrencies are still here. There is a kind of a prevailing belief, I would say, amongst the mainstream media and also amongst the powers that be, that this is just a blip on the radar, that cryptocurrencies are just a flash in the pan. And I would have to say that I don't fall into that camp. I would say that I believe cryptocurrencies represent something unbelievably important for the powers that be, because Bitcoin or other types of cryptocurrencies that are created in the same way they cannot be confiscated. They cannot be taken. Remember, whenever we hear about gold and how gold could be taken, they could confiscate your gold. Sometimes you'll hear commercials that talk about how back in 1930s, FDR requested the confiscation of everybody's gold. Well, in reality, he never actually confiscated anyone's gold, and no one went to jail, or actually no one went to jail for not turning in their gold, I should say. I'm sure it happened, but no one went to jail or no one paid any fines. But regardless of all of that, cryptocurrency, you just can't take it. You just can't. I mean, the government can't take your cryptocurrency. It's impossible. So you have the keys, and the only way you could actually allow them to have it is if you're irresponsible with your private keys. But if you have them in your possession, there's not a single thing that the government can do to take it. And I think this is the first time in history where you have this kind of power of the people. The people are empowered in such a way. And why are they wanting to be empowered? Because the powers that be have completely abused their powers when it comes to money. We have seen a tremendous destruction of purchasing power within the U.S. dollar. Fiat currency, this debt-based currency that we have, has completely gone off the rails. And now we have outrageous amounts of debt. The central bank prints money like it's wallpaper. It might as well be just paper. That's all that it is. And it's not backed up by anything but the full faith and credit of a bankrupt government, the United States of America. And I say bankrupt because they can't afford to pay all the bills that they have. They can't even afford to pay the bills they have on an annual basis, right? This year, they're going to have to borrow money to pay for all their bills. Next year, they're going to have to borrow $1 trillion to pay all their bills. The year after that, the United States has to borrow. If you had to borrow $1 trillion every year just to make it by, would you think you're in good shape? Would you think that's the greatest economy in your household ever? I don't think so. And I think that's why cryptocurrencies evolved in the first place. The Bitcoin was actually introduced to the world in a white paper back at the very bottom of the market back in October of 2008. Back near the nadir of the crash. I mean, it was just really, really bad. And here comes Bitcoin, and Bitcoin offering this type of currency that has an inflation rate that cannot be messed with. So you cannot introduce more Bitcoin into the system. There's only going to be 21 million. And so we really spend some time in this report talking about how that particular power that Bitcoin has over, say, fiat currency has really made it attractive to many newcomers in the space.
And if you are new to this technology, cryptocurrencies, we have many resources on our website, followthemoney.com. You can look up our podcast archives where we have things like Bitcoin, the new Wild West. We have a beginner's guide to Bitcoin. So you can look up all of those different resources. You can even become a member and see some of those resources on cryptocurrencies. Or you can get this 2019 investment report that we've just released, and you'll get a lot of these basics in that as well. So look those up, followthemoney.com. If you are new to this idea of cryptocurrencies and don't quite grasp the concept yet. Jerry, I have another question for you, and it goes back to what I said at the beginning of the show about how Bitcoin caught the world's attention again when it crossed above the $5,000 point. And when I say that, I mean one Bitcoin was trading for around 5,000 US dollars. So the price of Bitcoin has been extremely volatile and has had huge runs up, huge runs down over the years. So tell us, what does this crossing of $5,000 mean? Where are we in the current price cycle of Bitcoin?
That's a great question. I mean, I think that's really the question on most people's minds is Bitcoin getting ready to go back higher? Remember back in 2017, the very end of 2017, December, and also the beginning of 2018, we saw Bitcoin prices, near $18,000, $19,000. I mean, it was really quite stunning. it really stunned the world. And then, of course, we saw those prices come right back down, and we had an 80% collapse. The same thing happened back in 2013. We've lived through a few of these bubbles where we have a boom-bust cycle in cryptocurrencies, and it's really driven by a herd mentality. That is, whenever the people start to see the price go up, they go out and they buy Bitcoin, right? But what's interesting is that we have actually seen during this crypto winter, if you will, during this time in this latest crash since the peak in January 2018, we've actually seen a consolidation of the price around, we actually touched down, we believe a low was set back in December of 2018 at around 3,500, somewhere in there on Bitcoin. But we've actually seen a consolidation of the price, and then we've also seen a rising in transactions that are being used in Bitcoin. We see a rise in the volume. We see a rise in the interest. We see a rise in the developer community. We see a rise across the board in commercial applications. So it's clear that Bitcoin is not going away, and it's also clear that Bitcoin is not going to zero, as many people have often thought that eventually it'll just go to zero. We see Bitcoin holding at still, at several $1,000s for each coin. Now remember, back at the beginning of 2013, you could pick these things up for $13 a piece, right? And there's many other cryptocurrencies right now that are high quality, that offer real-world applications for commercial applications and for other kinds of applications that are also trading for very cheap right now. And we believe that the smart investor, the savvy investor, and the speculative investor in particular has a lot of potential gains that could be made if he is smart in his research. So we see, I believe, Jennifer, to address the question now, I believe that we are in a cycle right now where we have touched the low. Now, I still believe we could still probably see the price come back down a little bit, but I think we're probably going to see a general creep upwards in 2019 based upon the chart, based upon the volume, based upon the interest, based upon what's happening. I think we're going to continue to see a kind of a slow march higher in 2019. And I believe when we get to 2020 and 2021, that's when we're going to start seeing that parabolic move. Something interesting that happens every single year, or every single 4 years, is roughly every 4 years. It's not actually on the calendar, but it's around every 4 years, is something known as the Bitcoin halving. And the Bitcoin halving is where the miners reward. Every single Bitcoin miner gets a reward for doing what they do. And right now, every 10 minutes, there are 12.5 Bitcoin introduced into the ecosystem, if you will, Bitcoin ecosystem, every single 10 minutes. And that number is going to be halved in May of 2020. And so typically, if you look at a chart of Bitcoin and you go back and you look at a chart of Bitcoin 12 months prior to each of the halvings that have occurred, what you'll notice is that the price begins to run during that time. So May, which is next month, we believe, if history holds and if the history provides any pattern here, we could start to see a general drift up beginning in May of 2019 that could resolve in a parabolic move sometime in 2020, 2021. And so that's where we see things going. That's why we are, once again, dollar cost averaging back into some select cryptocurrencies right now, and we have been since the beginning of the year.
And Jerry, how do you research some of these cryptocurrencies that you do invest in? What are some of the fundamental things that you look for, or technical things that you look at when you're researching?
This is really important, I think, because when anybody who has stock investing experience and they've researched stocks, many people know how to analyze a stock. They know to look at the price to earnings ratio, the price to sales ratio. They know to look at the return on equity and all of these fundamental characteristics of a stock, that you would normally look at. Sometimes it becomes perplexing when you turn to cryptocurrencies because they're not the same metrics, obviously. And so to help you select the right kinds of cryptocurrencies for your portfolio, what we've included in this report are several different things that I ask whenever I'm looking at a cryptocurrency myself. Let me give you a few of these criteria. First of all, I ask myself, who is running the project, right? This is kind of similar to what you would ask about a stock. You want to know who the leadership is, who's the management team, who are they, what's their experience. But ultimately, the cryptocurrency's future potential will rise or fall based upon its leadership, its management, And one more important point is its development teams. So I do a deep dive into both the credentials and the experience of each of these teams. It's vital that you have people who are not, because anybody can slap together a cryptocurrency. I don't think this is what many people don't understand, Jennifer, is that 95, maybe even more, maybe 96, 97%, maybe even 99%, quite frankly, of the cryptocurrencies that are out there right now, I don't believe they're going to be there 5 to 10 years from now. They're going to completely go away, or they're going to morph into something else, or they'll become something that they weren't planning on becoming. Who knows? But I don't think they're going to be there. And many of them are just outright scams. So that's a really important thing that you need to know as you're researching this stuff, is that anybody can slap one of these together, and anybody can slap together a website and say that they're great. So it's very, very important today, that you're able to do your due diligence and find out what's the experience. What are the credentials of the teams that are leading this, and how broad is their global network, and do they have any experience in what they're trying to accomplish right now? Another thing that I look for too is a clear vision for the future. There's so many different blockchain projects vying for your investment capital, and therefore you can afford to be choosy. You don't just have to put money into anything. So you want to look at the roadmap of the cryptocurrency. What's their plan? And have they been faithful in sticking to their plan? Have previous upgrades and updates, met the goals, the stated goals that they had? And then also another thing that I really look at is really the development community. How healthy and happy are they? The future popularity of a cryptocurrency is largely determined upon the success of its customer-facing applications, right? That's the thing that we really haven't seen in the space of cryptocurrency, are all of the applications that are going to be coming out. And these applications are not going to be built like people by you and me, like you and me. They're going to be built by developers. And so the cryptocurrencies that have the best development teams are going to build the best customer-facing apps. And the best customer-facing apps are what's going to draw people in to these different projects. And so, those are just a few of the ideas. We provide more in the report, but that's really how we attack cryptocurrencies. And there's many, many more things that we look at, especially things like transaction volume, how many people are using it, what's the online community look like. There's a lot more.
Right. And it is possible definitely for you to find all of this stuff online and do your own due diligence and research on cryptocurrencies that you would like to invest in. However, we have done a lot of that heavy lifting and have chosen 12 cryptocurrencies that Jerry and I are personally invested in. And that's what you'll find in our 2019 cryptocurrency investment report. So if you don't have the time to go out and do the heavy lifting of the research yourself, which many people don't, and that's, totally fine, you can get our research in our report. And by the way, you can pick up that report on our website, followthemoney.com, and just click on the shop button, and it's on early bird special right now, which is nice. Jerry, so let's get right to it. Let's reveal the 3 cryptocurrencies that we're invested in for the long run. Of course, we have 12 in our portfolio, but these 3 are ones that we're invested in for the long run. And let's tell the folks about each of the 3.
You bet, Jennifer. So let's just go ahead and begin with, and as you mentioned, we do have 12 in the report. All of these, by the way, in the report, we are holding with a long-term view. But the 3 that we want to profile today that we are currently invested in, we've been invested in for many years, and we like for the long haul, are Bitcoin, Ripple, and Cardano. Let me just run through each of these briefly. First of all, Bitcoin, I just don't think that any cryptocurrency investor would want to be not exposed to Bitcoin. It is by far the most prominent brand in the blockchain space. In fact, it's crazy how prominent it is and how popular it is. In other parts of the world, many brands do not have the kind of brand power that Bitcoin has. And when you think about it, it's pretty nuts because Bitcoin doesn't have an office. It doesn't have a CEO. It doesn't have anything that you would typically think of when you think of a publicly traded company. It's not. It's an idea. It is a cryptocurrency, but there is no CEO. There is no organization, if you will. And so therefore, the fact that its brand has spread so quickly is really quite something. And what I've also discovered about Bitcoin is that it seems to be increasingly viewed as a store of value and as a hedge. And for this reason, I own both gold and cryptocurrency. Now, in full disclosure, I own more gold than I do cryptocurrency. I take 5% of my total investable assets and I invest them in cryptocurrencies. But that's just 5%. I have more than that in precious metals. So I believe in both. And I've noticed that many cryptocurrency enthusiasts don't understand gold, and many gold enthusiasts don't understand cryptocurrencies. And it's unfortunate because ultimately both of these assets, which they really are both asset classes, they're really both vying for the same kind of investor, and they're also really kind of on the same team. They both serve as a check upon fiat inflation, right? That's really what these are. As I stated before, Bitcoin is only going to have 21 million in total circulation. And when you think about all the millions that have been lost permanently, we're probably only talking about 17 or 18 million coins that will ever be available for investors to buy. So we're talking about a very finite, limited number that the inflation number is going to be in check. And so inflation is going to continue going down on Bitcoin as global inflation continues to go up, right? That's a recipe for a lot of potential demand for Bitcoin from people seeking a store of value and a hedge. So I do like, now as far as Bitcoin goes, you think about it, right now, there are a lot of new cryptocurrencies that are upstarting, and you think, well, Bitcoin's going to go away. It's the old one. And you know what I think of when I think of Bitcoin too? Remember whenever I was a kid, I remember Walmart and Kmart were like the two really big stores, like the big department stores or, whatever you go to. And Walmart and Kmart, whenever I was a kid, and I used to go to Kmart and I used to get a little icy. I remember getting an icy there. I thought it was so cool. I always loved going to Kmart whenever I was a kid. And, now where's Kmart? I mean, it's gone, right? Who would have ever guessed that, Kmart was just going to completely go away and Walmart won the war, didn't they? Well, you got to think about that in terms of, it's kind of a crude illustration for sure, but there's going to be winners and losers in the crypto space. And there's current brands now that exist that will not exist later. Just like Kmart went away and Walmart is still here and it's winning. Well, there's other cryptocurrencies out there that are the Kmart, right? They look good now, and they seem to be competing, but they're going to go away. So is Bitcoin the Kmart or is Bitcoin the Walmart, right? It's kind of a silly question, but that's what you have to think about when you're investing in these spaces. Which one is going to make it? And with Bitcoin having the world's, or deeply embedded in the world's conscience, and right now when you look at the holders of Bitcoin, you find it's a lot of large net worth individuals, a lot of small hedge funds, and a lot of tech enthusiasts and tech companies. It's hard to imagine that they're all just going to give up, considering they haven't sold even at these recent lows. You've got a lot of hodlers here. So Bitcoin, we believe, is going to continue higher. We actually have a 2020 price target of Bitcoin at $18,000. So I'm talking about by the end of 2020, I would expect to see Bitcoin back at $18,000. And I believe the next high that we're going to see on Bitcoin is going to be higher than the 2018 or 2017, 2018 peak. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. The second one I want to talk about, Jennifer, is Cardano. Cardano. Now, this is a coin that I am particularly interested in. I've been acquiring and buying this coin now for a few years. And those of you who've been with us for a while, you've heard me talk about Cardano. It's one of my favorite blockchain projects. It's the very first one, and in fact, the only one until very recently, to be born from a scientific philosophy. It's the only one to be designed and built by a global team of academics and engineers. And it's led by a fellow by the name of Charles Hoskinson, who is a brilliant mathematician, and he was actually one of the co-founders of Ethereum. So Cardano is this open source blockchain project that many people believe could actually be better than Ethereum, right? Ethereum always becomes the one that many of these smaller coins are trying to attack because Ethereum itself, we hold Ethereum, by the way, in full disclosure, but we also believe that there are other coins that are vying for that Ethereum crown. And Cardano is one of the ones that we really think has a running chance. So Cardano has a brand new Shelley update that's supposed to be out later this year. It's supposed to be out already. We're still waiting for it. I believe that's going to be very positive for the coin. I'm extremely bullish on Cardano's future. I believe that its robust technology could finally get the attention that it deserves this year. Prices are still extremely low. As of the recording here, they're trading at around 8 or 9 cents per coin. And we have a 2020 price target on Cardano at $1.10. So we think that by the end of 2020, if we get a nice bull run in the cryptocurrency space, that Cardano could reach $1.10. So let me give you one more cryptocurrency because we're running out of time here. Here's the third one that we like and we own and hold for the long term, and that's Ripple. I told you I started buying Ripple back in 2013, and it's an interesting story because at the time, back in 2013, Ripple was, a very unknown cryptocurrency. And whenever I tried to buy Ripple, it was so much in its infancy that you could not actually buy Ripple without having Ripple. Isn't that bizarre? You had to have Ripple to buy Ripple. And so what I had to do was I had to go on message boards and I had to find somebody who would just give me, you had to have at least 20 Ripple. Anybody remember this? I don't know, maybe some of in our audience who were onto Ripple too, like I was back then when I was talking about it. But I was trying to figure out how to buy it, and I found somebody online who gave me 20 Ripple so that then I could go ahead and then establish an account and then start buying Ripple. And it was very, very interesting. And I started buying up Ripple back in 2013. It was trading for less than a penny. I mean, it was extremely cheap, like many of the ones in this report that we have just recently put out. And Ripple was very, very cheap. It recently went as high as, I want to say like $3.50 during the 2017 bull run. You know what's funny about Ripple? Was the founder. Now, by the way, Ripple is centralized. Ripple is not decentralized, so it's a totally different kind of coin. But its CEO, right, or its founder, if you will, actually became the world's richest man for a period of like 2 or 3 days, going right past Buffett, going right past Gates, and became the world's richest man just for a few days because this technology is unbelievable. Ripple is partnering with banks all over the world. And if you remember the 2017 bull market, any of you who turned on CNBC, guess what you didn't see? You did not see some representative from Bitcoin because there is none. And you didn't see some representative from, Litecoin because there is none. I mean, you have the guy who founded it, but that's it. But you know who they did show a lot on CNBC was the CEO of Ripple, right? Ripple is a centralized project. It is accepted by Wall Street. It's accepted. It's being embraced by the powers that be. And so that's why I like Ripple, is because I do believe that we're going to have big, big rumblings in the future. And we already have. We've already seen evidence of this. But we're going to have big rumblings between the powers that be and the blockchain technology. The powers that be do not want this kind of technology to get out of hand. And centralized projects that can be controlled, like Ripple, are right up Wall Street's alley, right? And so Wall Street is working closely with projects like Ripple, and Ripple is, again, one of the most disruptive coins, I believe, out there. It makes it attractive. Its technology is attractive to financial institutions. It's attractive to corporations. And again, some people who are very deeply into the idea of decentralization specifically dislike Ripple for this reason. But as I look at Ripple, right now the company claims that it has formed hundreds of partnerships with banks. It has a centralized X Rapid platform, which allows its token XRP to be used by many institutions around the world to facilitate their cross-border payments. So right now, there's companies like American Express, MoneyGram, even the SWIFT system is as a partner of the RippleNet system. And when you take a look at Ripple, it's capable of handling global transaction volume while processing 1,500 transactions per second. which is highly competitive with Visa's own capacity of 1,700 transactions per second. So if you want to get money from here to there quickly, Ripple facilitates the cross-border payments, and that's what makes this such a really valuable coin. So those are the three coins that I would say, for the long term, I think these are going to do well. I gave you the price targets. These, of course, are just my opinion, and you should always do your own due diligence and talk to a trusted financial advisor before you make any financial decisions. You should never do your, financial planning on a podcast. But these are the ones that I own. This is where I'm putting my money. And only 5% of my money, by the way, only 5% of my total investable assets are exposed to cryptocurrencies, because if the whole thing blows up, then guess what? I walk away with 95% of my money. But if it continues going the way it's been going since 2013, then this is going to be one of the smarter investments that we've made in our life. Jennifer?
Yeah, well, once again, you can get the full access to our 2019 cryptocurrency investment report with the video, with the portfolio, with the report, and everything included. Early bird special. Go to followthemoney.com, click on the shop button. You can get instant access. Jerry, I'm excited. This topic really excites me. Of course, we don't let our emotions take over when we're making investment decisions and we're putting a plan together, but this is an exciting topic. It's this new technology that's only been around, just a little bit over a decade. It's exciting, and I hope that you've enjoyed this topic today. Again, the three cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Cardano, and Ripple, that we're invested in for the long term. And go check out our other resources on cryptocurrencies online at followthemoney.com. To go out on a limb and make a bold prediction. The 2019 Follow the Money Summit is likely to yield more financial fruit for attendees than any other activity throughout the whole year. Hey guys, it's Jennifer Robinson, and I want to personally invite you to join us on Friday, May 31st, 2019 at the Embassy Suites in bustling Rogers, Arkansas to see Jerry, myself, and a host of exciting speakers. Many of our listeners have shared how attending the summit in the past has been the catalyst for breaking free financially. With a powerful lineup of speakers, teachings, and breakout sessions, this year's summit promises to be the most powerful yet. At this year's free live event on May 31st, you will be able to network with like-minded people and get motivated to break free financially. You will even have the opportunity to meet Jerry and me, even have dinner with us at our optional evening event. You can also attend our next day event on Saturday, June 1st. This optional event is our powerful trend trading boot camp, an all-day intense training for those wanting to trade stocks for profit. Get your free summit ticket at summit.followthemoney.com now. There, you can choose to add one or both of our optional events as well, including the Trend Trading Bootcamp and the special evening with Jerry Robinson and myself. Learn more online at summit.followthemoney.com.
Hey friends, this is Jerry Robinson from Follow the Money Weekly. Recently, we have been receiving many emails from our listeners commenting on the great help they're getting from our precious metals expert, Tom Cloud. Gold and silver are excellent hedges against the growing threat of coming U.S. inflation. Who's your gold guy? Make it Tom Cloud. With over 30 years experience with precious metals, Tom will answer all of your questions. Don't buy your gold and silver through some call center and pay inflated prices. Call my good friend Tom Cloud and speak directly with him and get all of your questions answered. For a limited time, Tom is offering free shipping and insurance on every gold and silver purchase made by our listeners. Call 800
800-247-2812. And when you do, tell him that Jerry Robinson from Follow the Money Weekly sent you, and he'll throw in that free shipping and insurance on your entire order. Call your gold guy, Tom Cloud, right now for the very best deals on gold and silver coins. 800-247-2812. That is 800-247-2812.
All right, friends, welcome back to the program. Great to have you along for the ride. We are in the final moments now of our broadcast. And, I really hope you enjoyed those 3 cryptocurrencies for the long term. If you're brand new to the space, it can seem overwhelming. And one of the best sites you can go to just to start looking at all of the different cryptocurrencies is a website called coinmarketcap.com. And there you can see all of the different cryptocurrencies, and you can see their current prices as they change throughout the day. It's a really nice website. You can't trust everything on the website. A lot of their figures, you might want to, they're kind of suspect. I wouldn't trust everything that you see on the site, but I do like the fact that they have everything organized, and you can do some research there. So anyway, coinmarketcap.com is kind of a nice website if you're not familiar with that website. All right, friends. Well, that brings us to the end of our program. Thank you so much for tuning in and letting us be a part of your life right here on this broadcast. And as always, I like to leave you with a final word. This time, kind of a technology kind of moment, where we have a quote here from William Orton, who was the president of Western Union. Said this back in 1876. He said, "This telephone has too many shortcomings to be seriously considered as a means of communication." And of course, that's coming from Western Union, who did not want to see the telephone succeed. We have many of these different quotes we can find throughout history as new technologies come online, and there's a general resistance to them. We've seen the same resistance to the internet initially. We saw the same resistance to computers initially. And I think the same resistance that we see towards cryptocurrencies will also be found to be the same nature. That we have entered a new time now of blockchain technology, which is going to disrupt many industries in the future. And now it's just a matter of whether you're an early adopter or whether you're going to be a late adopter. It's really, the choice is up to you. And that's just something to think about. Remember, friends, when you want the truth about the global economy, just follow the money. Have a safe and prosperous week, and we'll see you right back here next time. Until then, God bless.
All of the information contained on the Follow the Money podcast is strictly for informational and educational purposes. It should not be construed as specific investment advice. The views and opinions of our guests and sponsors are their own and do not necessarily represent the views of FTMDaily.com or Robinson Media Group, LLC. Jerry Robinson does hold an insurance license and at times may offer consulting on life insurance and fixed retirement income products. Follow-up, individualized responses to email or phone requests that involve the rendering of personalized investment advice for compensation will not be made absent compliance with state investment advisor registration requirements or an applicable exemption or exclusion and applicable insurance regulations. Past performance is not indicative of future results. You should be aware of the real risk of loss in following any strategy or investment discussed on the podcast. Remember, never do your financial planning through podcast or radio. It's your money. Be wise. Do your due diligence and always consult a trusted financial professional before making any financial decisions.